Tip's message coming out of that game, in your meeting yesterday and heading into tonight?
It's obviously pretty clear. I think we all agreed that we're not going to win very many games if we play that way. So it's a good chance for us to respond and show our true face and come out with a game that we want to play.
You guys had kind of the experience of a lot of mornings waking up and seeing yourselves in first place in the division for quite a while, and I know you don't probably pay a ton of attention to it, but when you're not, or if there's is that notable for you guys, kind of a wake-up call, or is it?
We're always tight with the other teams, so I don't think we pay too much attention. I think we all know where we're at in the standings, but we try and take it game by game. Obviously we're gonna get that top spot back, and tonight is a step where we have to take in the right direction. So like I said, tonight is a night where we have to show what we're capable of and play our game.
Sorry, when it's that, I think it's like 5 points between second and ninth or 10th or whatever. When it's that tight, does that kind of force you to sharpen your focus?
Well, yeah. You always have to be sharp. I think, like I said, nights like the other night, that just can't happen. It did. You move on and you try and respond. And obviously you have to be sharp. You got to bank in points as many as you can. So tonight's a good chance for us to do that.
It's tough. I imagine it would be tougher when you're kind of at the top and you're not going to catch anybody by surprise. Like, teams are ready for you every night, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. They're coming for you. They want your spot up there, and they want to. They want to beat the best team in the division. So, obviously we have to get used to that, and we want to be in that position, and we have to get used to that, like I said, and try and find ways to still be productive and win hockey games.
Thanks, Dale. Getting to the top of the standings is one thing. Staying there maybe it's tough. Teams are ready for you, aren't they? When you're.
Yeah, I think for sure. You're at the top. I think you got to recognize that teams are coming in here and looking to be ready and to beat us. So maybe a little bit different than years past, but I think we've gotten better as the years gone on, and I think we'll continue to grow. So. I like where we are right now, but we definitely have room for improvement. We know that, and I think for us, we just got to bring a little bit more consistency into our game.
When you look at the standings, it's really tight between first and second, and even ninth or 10th. Does that force you to kind of keep one eye on the standings this early in the thing?
Well, I feel like it's just going to be it's tight from day one right to the end of the year. That's just the way the NHL is, and. So for us, like I said, we got off to a good start. So we just need to continue to build on our game. I think focusing on ourselves is the biggest thing. I think control what you can control, and that's us going out and playing good hockey and getting better. So as long as we do that, we'll be in good shape.
What's your sense of the messaging from Tip? Coming out of that last game, in your meetings yesterday, and what he wants tonight.
Yeah, I think there's just certain parts of our game that we just need to, tighten up. I think, last game we had a pretty solid start in the first period. I think we had, with a couple power plays, we just got to bear down and get one there. I think it changes the game a little bit. But, after that, we kind of let things slide. And then going into the third period, you don't grab a hold of a game, and they find a quick goal. And then we're 2 behind and then 3 behind. So for us, we need to, stay patient in our game, keep the game in front of us. And, for us, we can't keep counting on our bounce back games. We got to grab a hold of things, and I think we will. So, good chance for us tonight to get back at it, and an LA team coming in here, so we'll be ready.
Nights go sideways. It's a long season. Just what's your take on how this group learns from the tough nights?
Yeah, you're going to have, it's just your ups and downs. I think you got to stay even keel, of course. But like I said, I think there's times where you go out in a third period or either it's a tied game or maybe we're down by one or up by one where you got to really grab a hold. You got to have a good first 5 minutes. You can't let things slide and start getting a little sloppy. So we know that. So we'll continue to grow with that and get better at coming out in the third. But like I said, team's in a good spot right now. We just need to continue to build and keep getting better, and I think we will.
Kind of sense of Tippett's main message, after that last game and through the meeting yesterday is to the group to take into tonight?
Yeah, I think last game was our 30th game in the season, and I thought we're seeing a evolution of our team since training camp. Now, with that being said, we got to take the next step. I think starting in December and going through the holidays, teams kind of separate themselves from the pack, and I think that was the message for us. Obviously, our goals against us to get better and just kind of see where we're at.
When you talk about the evolution or taking the next step, outside of just winning more games, in terms of learning how to be a top team, what's the next step in your group's evolution?
Yeah, I thought so far this year we've done a pretty good job of kind of rising up to the challenge of big games. Obviously, that last road trip was kind of a showing of that. But at the same time, this league's too hard. Teams are too good. Doesn't matter where they are in the standings. This group has to learn that, on every single night, we may not feel our best personally or as a team, but we got to find ways to keep the game tight or keep the game in front of us. So those are things that we've seen so far this year, and we got to address that.
It's common from previous years that you've been here where the group, when challenged, maybe goes the wrong way a little bit. What signs do you see in here that you guys go the right way when challenged this way?
I think we're just more upbeat a little bit in the locker room, just the atmosphere. We've done a much better job this year of when things are going well, not to get too high, or lately it may not have been as good as we may like, and obviously you reflect on that, and you got to get better, but at the same time we're in a pretty good position in the standings. So I think that comes from some of the new faces in our team. Also comes from our young guys gaining experience and being more comfortable in the locker room. So that's good to see from the team.
When things are this tight in the standings, I mean, it adds to the stress level a little bit. But at the same time, every game matters, and if you embrace it, it's got to be fun especially for a lot of the guys in this room.
Yeah, being part of something special in this league is what you want. So this group's growing. We're in a good position. Now it's on us to take the next level and see where we can take this.
Thanks.
I just wanted to ask about. I know everyone talks about you don't look at the standings when you go in and play, and it's a tough league. But is there a psychological thing when you're a first place club or second place club now, and you're looking, seeing who you're playing? Is that something that you really kind of have to pay attention to block out?
I think players might look at it more than the coaches do. The coaches are always looking at how you're playing, right? They look at the process, how we're going to be a better team, how are we playing now, and the results look at themselves. I think this players walk by the standings and they look at, hey, we're in first place, or oh, we're in second place, or we're in fifth place, whatever. So maybe the players do, but the coaches, I think coaches more look at how the process is going that leads you to be a first place team or a fourth place team, whatever it is, and you go from there.
Dave, any specific members of the Kings that you'd like me to go to a story on today? For
Yeah, that would be perfect.
Hoskin and Jinx?
I was looking for it yesterday, actually. So it would be, deep in the thought process today. No, all good.
I want to ask you about your bench. And when you are finding adversity in games, bad things are happening, like quick goals back to back, what you notice in your bench, the way they react, and if, kind of what you're seeing there, what your observations are.
I see some stuff from our leadership, which I like. I'd actually like to see more vocal when things are good that are happening. Like we kind of take the good in stride and we actually have addressed some of the bad stuff, which is I like, but you'd like to see a little more juice in the good stuff too. But for the most part, our bench isn't bad. Like what I try to do is use the TV timeouts to make sure you get messages across at the right time. I'm not a big guy that's yelling and screaming back there, but our bench for the most part is pretty good. I think there's a lot of constructive talk there and enough emotion to be happy about, but you can always use a little more.
LA scored 10 goals, 5 in both games. The games have been different, but that's still a lot of goals to give up against one team. Is it because you just haven't played very good defense against in either, or was the first game just a wide open game?
In LA, the 5, I didn't like our goaltending on a couple. We gave up one on a power play late that meant nothing, so I don't look at the score, I look at the wins and losses. So we were able to win one, and if you look at the first game in here, we passed 2 right on their stick from our goaltender. So you got to I look at how the goals were scored, not how many they're scored. So there's things that concern you, sure. Do you want to give up 5? Never want to give up 5, and that's what we're talking about the last few days. We're giving up too many goals right now, so that has to be a key. That being said, if we do give up 5, I just want to get 6. Not advised, but it's worked once.
Dave, you mentioned you watch how the goals are given up, and your goals for have pretty much been consistent in all 3 10-game sequences. Your special teams virtually the same. It's only your goals against. So what's changed in just that one element of your team play, because it hasn't slipped into your penalty kill at all?
No, it's not. It's not one thing that changes. There's a few things that have changed. We've given up some goals that I don't think our goaltenders were giving up early. We've been chasing some games where I don't like the way we play. When we chase a game, you got to take chances to get back in the game, but the chances we're taking they're not giving us any advantage, and we're giving up some goals there. So it's just a mindset. You got to defend better. So it's not, if I knew it was just one thing, here it is, you could address it, but it's a number of things, and we've addressed that the last couple of days.
Have the injuries and absences in your lineup forced you to play in a slightly different way, or are you trying to play the same way with different personnel?
Well, you gear certain personnel or play certain ways, right? So when you're missing some key piece of people, you don't change your game, but other people recognize that they have to contribute a little more. But sometimes more for them is more of what their style is, you don't try to do more of what a guy's out is doing. So it's every day we look at our lineup and we say, how are we going to win with this lineup? How are we going to gear it to, how are we going to play, and how are we going to gear our lines and D pairs to feel like we can win? And that's, when you're missing guys, you do the same thing as when those guys are in there.
Your top guys, you played a lot of minutes all year long. I wonder if some of this attention to detail stuff that you're talking about, do you view fatigue as a potential reason for any of that?
No, I don't. I think we try to do a good job of whether it's practice or I think I've got a pretty good feel on when you got to push with some video, when you got to push some teaching, when you got to back off a little bit. So, I mean, it's a long season. Everybody goes through it, but I think we try to manage that as best we can. And everything that we do is geared around results, right? So one day you might say, hey, I got 10 things that we got to pound on today. And then you see your group and you say, you know what, today's not the right day to do it. So those are all feels for coaches that the staff has to have, not just myself, but both guys on special teams and Schwartzy with the goaltender. So it's a feel. Ultimately, you always have to do what's best to find your results. And coaches can get emotional or mad or watch a video, and it's always way easier on video. Like coaches can, oh, why didn't you go here? Why didn't you go here? It's different when you're a player, but you can get too critical and get your team too down. And I've seen instances where no matter what you did, it doesn't seem like it's good enough. Well, there's times when you got to manage your team's mental psyche as well as the structure and how you play. So those things always are in the back of our mind.
Was that a bit of yesterday? Some decisions you made?
A little bit, yeah. A little bit, just to make sure that we're fresh and focused on the task at hand today.
David, looks like Koskinen might get the start. First time a goalie would start 3 in a row. What goes the decision to come back with him?
Just we need him to bounce back. We've had a couple games where Schmidt's been down and we've given him the opportunity to bounce back. Kosk's going to have a bounce back game tonight, so that's why we went back with him.
Okay,
All right.
Thanks, Coach.